Hey, welcome back. All right, so in the last tutorial, we went out and we found some sounds from a website called Zapsplat. We got a hovering sound and a button push sound. Now you can use any sounds you want, but I use those, and I gave you the link to those that I'm using in the previous tutorial from Zapsplat. And then we took them and we put them into the software Audacity to do a little bit of a modification to the hovering platform sound, and then to export both of those as OGGs and then import them into Unreal Engine, and we created our sound cues that we're going to use in our program. So the sound cues are already created. So if you missed that piece, jump back over, at least see how to set up the sound cues if you already got your audio and everything like that. So let me go ahead and jump right in. Again, here's the sound cues. We're using this hovering platform and this push button sound. And we're going to put them into our blueprint. Now, some things we got to think about. When we're talking about blueprints, orders often, the order of functions in your blueprint does matter. Some more than others. But when we're talking about things like this audio file, where we put it here is going to create either an issue or give us an opportunity to kind of solve that issue. So I'm going to go ahead and actually just kind of select this one right here. I'm going to move it over a little bit. And I'm going to show you a demonstration of what I mean. So you don't actually have to follow along with this piece of it. Just kind of watch what I'm going to do here. If you want to try it out, that's perfectly fine too. So the first thing we're going to do is, what I want to do is I want to get a sound that's attached, right? And our first sound is going to be the push button sound. That's the sound we want to have occur first. So we're going to spawn sound attached, okay? And the attached is going to be our platform, because we're going to attach it to our platform. I'm going to drag this out here and plug that in here. And the sound that I want is going to be this hovering, or no, the push button sound right here. So I'm going to just type in SC underscore, and button push platform is the one I'm going to use for that. Okay. Now, by putting it here, it sets it up first. But one of the things we got to realize is that there's going to be constant update coming out from our time line right here. And what that's going to do is that's going to call this every single time. So that's going to cause a problem when we actually try to start our platform. So if I hit play, we got a 7-second delay. So that push button is going to be pushed over and over and over again, and then it even distorts it pretty badly. That's not where we want it to go. And we're also going to have to deal with another issue of making it so that it doesn't get called every time that this has to update. All right. So let's go ahead and disconnect this from here. So I'm just going to take this update. We're going to drag it all the way over here, plug it back into my material, and I'm going to disconnect this one from right there. I'm going to drag it actually to this end down here. Now, one of the things we got to realize is that even if we put it down here at this end, it's going to cause another problem for us. It's going to cause the same problem for us, because every time this occurs, it's going to call this sound, and this sound is going to do what we just heard it do. Now, there is a function that we can put in here, a node, that allows us to only call it once. That's why we want it down here at this end, because we only do the do once here at the beginning. It'll only do this one time, and then the platform will stop moving. So we only want the sound to be called once, but we want the platform to keep moving. So we are going to put this at the end so that we can do that in this manner. So we're going to call out from here. We're going to drag out, and this part, go ahead and follow along with me. We're going to do it once, okay? And then we're going to connect this do once up here to our spawn attached. Okay, we're going to compile it and save it. And now if I go back in and hit play, we get just one time. It doesn't keep going over and over and over again. But the problem that we're going to run into is that if it goes again, it won't reset. We've basically told it, do this one time, this entire life of this platform, and that's it. Don't do it again. So this blueprint won't ever make that sound again. And of course, we didn't set it up, but you didn't hear it, right? It didn't play. Just now when it came back down, it should have played. So we have a do once, but we're going to need to be able to reset it. The way that we can reset it is right here after move platform. So once it's finished and it does this piece of it, now let's go ahead and yeah, we'll finish talking about this first, and then we'll get this other piece in here. And we're gonna have to modify this a little bit in the future as well, because this is going to cause another issue for us by putting it here. But I'll show you that in a minute. But we are going to go ahead and just attach this here. So once we're done, we finish everything, and we're no longer moving along, and everything has stopped. So we go along the finished part of our line. Then we can, at the end, reset this do once so that the next time this gets called, it'll go through the do once, do it one time, and it will fire this sound, and then it'll only fire that sound one time, and then once it's done, it will reset it again. And I'm flying away. Okay, and it fired like it's supposed to. We wait a few seconds. And it fired again. So it's going to do that every single time now. Okay, so working out so far so good. Now we need to add the hovering sound. And then we're also going to want to use this sound over here in the finished, and we'll get that set up here in just a minute. We're going to finish this line first. So the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to have another spawn sound at location, and we're going to want to have that hovering sound. So we're just going to put it right at the end of this one. And the reason why I'm doing these separate, we could have combined all this into one sound, but I'm doing this separate because this gives you as a creator an opportunity to say, you know what, really hate that push button sound, and you can come back in and change it out. All right, so I'm just going to highlight those two. I'm going to do a Control-D to duplicate them. Try that again. Duplicate it right here. And I'm going to change out that sound from the push button to the hovering platform I have right here. So SC, hovering platform. I'm going to compile it and save it. Now I'm going to go back in here. Now this is going to cause a different problem, because basically what we've done is we've set that up. And remember, the way we set up that that hovering platform is it's going to play the sound, but it's never going to stop because it's in a loop. It's just going to keep looping and looping and looping and looping and looping. And then when it fires again, it'll add to that. So we cause all kinds of new problems here just by doing that. So simple fix though. Okay. We've got all that set up. We're going to have to want to stop this. So once we're finished, we're going to want to fire this sound, and then we're going to want to also stop the hovering sound. Or actually, we'll probably want to stop the hovering sound first, and then play the push button sound at the end for the panel shutting off, right? So what we're going to do is right here, we have this opportunity, we have this return value. We can promote this to a variable so that it takes this hovering sound right here, and we need this one, not this one. We need this one because we're telling it to specifically shut off this sound right here. If we just do a stop on a generic sound, we'll get an error. So we actually need to tell it specifically what sound we're wanting it to stop. And in this case, it's going to be this hovering platform one. So the way we can do this is we right click and we can promote this to a variable. And now over here under our variables, we have this new variable. And I'm just going to say, I'm going to call this spawned hovering sound. Okay. And now I have this spawned hovering sound that I can use. So we are now ready to go over here. So once we're finished, we're going to need to stop this sound. Let's do it this way. Let's grab our hovering sound. We'll drag this out. So we're going to drag this out, and we're going to get this hovering sound, the spawned hovering sound that we just created. And from here, I'm going to drag out, and we're going to type in stop, because this is what we need to do. We need to do it in this order in order to get the audio component stop, right? We want the regular just stop. All right. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and grab this one again, because we're going to play this one. I'm going to just highlight it, and I'm going to do a Control-D up here and duplicate it into here. And I've kind of made a mess, but we're going to put that into here. And we're going to grab this one out a little bit. We'll put that one there. So we're going to connect all these up, and we can clean this up and make it look better later. Connect that one there. And then from finished, I'm going to go here. Okay. So now we've got our platform, and we got a couple of these. So we could even conceivably, if we wanted to, just drag it out from here, put that target there, and eliminate one of these if we wanted to, or you can just leave it in. All right. So now let's try this out and see what we got. So if I hit play, after 10 seconds, because that's how I got it set up, I get the little beep, I get the hovering sound, and that hovering sound stopped. Okay. And then when it comes back, stops again. So it's working the way it's supposed to. Now, let's talk about some other things here. I have this delay set up down here, and I actually want to be able to maybe adjust my delay so that it works a little bit differently, right? So I want to be able to make it a, I want to be able to delay each of my individual platforms so they don't all start and stop at the same time, and there's some different movements, right? So I'm going to take this one out right here. We're just going to, I put this one in here earlier. I told you it was going to be temporary. We're going to delete that. And I'm going to create a variable that allows me to adjust this delay here. And I know it seems kind of weird to be putting this in with the sounds, but this is going to lead us to the next issue that I wanted to discuss. So here for the variables, I'm going to hit plus. I'm going to call this delay start, actually delay restart. Something like that. Okay, we're going to turn this into a float. I'm going to open the eye up on it. We're going to compile it. And then over here for the delay start time right now, it's 0. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a default time, because remember we had it at 5 seconds before. So I'm going to, or 3 seconds, something like that. I'm going to go ahead and just make it 5 seconds. Just sort of a generic start time that we can use. Compile it, drag that out, get it. And I'm just going to plug it in right here. All right. File, save. Now let's go back into the sandbox. I have 2 platforms here in my scene, right? So this one right here, if I click on it, we see now that we have our time for movement is 5 seconds, and our delay restart time is 5 seconds. So I'm going to change this one to 3 seconds. And then for this one right here, now they're both going to start at the same time, because I don't actually have a delayed start time, right? Okay, it's just a restart time. This one right here, I'm going to change it so that the movement time is actually 30 seconds. So it gives it a much longer lead time around the corner here. And the delay restart time, I'm going to leave that at 5. All right, so we're going to go ahead and save it. I'm going to hit play. And this is going to expose what our next issue is. And it has to do with sound attenuation. So let's go ahead and play. So they're both going at the same time right away. Okay, and you can still hear that sound. That's because that one over there is going, and we can hear it from over here where we're at, even though it's all the way over there, and we're on this platform over here. Whoops, I missed it. Okay, and now we can start hearing this weird kind of humming thing happening because they're both going at the same time, and the sound just sort of overlays on top of each other. And that one stopped. Now it's totally stopped because that one's not going anymore. This one's going. That one's going. Now we're going to lay on top of each other. All right, so how are we going to fix that? So we're going to set up some sound attenuation. And the other problem that we just created also, so let me show this real quick. Actually, we're not going to be able to see it in this one because I don't have a way of overriding the time that this starts, right? So if we take a look at the blueprint, right here we have this delay that we just put in here. And it's in front of our move platform, which is the continuation piece to our do once right here. So basically what we're doing is if we were able to interact with this particular platform and override it, we would basically, before this was reset for this sound, so this sound wouldn't be reset, we could start and stop our platform without this sound being ready to go. And that would throw up an error. because we've allowed ourselves to have this delay. We could cause the platform to move, but we couldn't, the auto move piece hasn't been reset, because all this is just doing an auto reset back to its original position once we get this all set up as an interact, right? Right now, it's all automatically just moving, and it's not really noticeable. But in the future, what will happen is we could create a scenario where we cause an error right here. So the way to avoid this is we're just going to disconnect it from the end here. And as soon as the material gets reset, then we can do this. We don't need to wait for the delay. But you can see that we can't actually make both of these happen at the same time. We have to choose one or the other from this output. So there is a node that allows us to do more than one thing at a time, and that's a sequence node. So if I pull out from here and type in sequence, this allows me to do one thing and then do the next thing. So I'm actually going to kind of put this in order here. So I'm just going to drag that one down here, hold the control button, get my little hand, and then I'm going to connect it up this way. And compile and save it. Now, we're not going to see any difference from what we just did, but just know that what we've just done is we set it up so that in the future, if we can interact with this platform, this will reset like it's supposed to without causing an error to happen. All right, so the next thing that we were talking about was attenuation. I kind of got sidetracked for a second, but attenuation is what we were hearing when both of those were going at the same time, and we don't want to have that happen. We don't want to be able to hear a moving platform that's moving all the way across the map. We can't even see it yet, but we can hear it moving because of the way the audio works in Unreal Engine. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to set up an attenuation. So I'm going to right click here, and or I'm going to open up my sounds content, because I'm going to put my attenuation in with this sound down here. If we go to audio and we look for one called sound attenuation, and I'm just going to call this SA underscore for sound attenuation, and I'm going to call this one platforms, because I'm going to apply this to all the sounds that are here in the platforms, the push button as well as the hovering sound. All right, so I'm going to double click and open this up. One of the things that I did change in here, I left it at, I changed these inner and outer radiuses. So this is the radius from which we can hear the sound, and the fall off distance before it kind of disappears, we no longer hear it. So I changed this to 50. It seems to work pretty well for my demo one. And I changed this to 3000. You can probably leave it at default. It'll probably work just the same. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my auto platform, and it's easy to set this up. Right here, I'm going to pick on this one first because this one's at the top. I'm going to hit this down arrow, and we have a spot down here for attenuation settings right here. So if I go back in and make sure I have my SA platform selected, I can just hit the little arrow next to it, and we'll apply that to that. I'm going to close that arrow. And then I'm also going to apply that to these two sounds over here as well. Down arrow, apply that, and then close it up, compile it, and save it. I'm going to go back into my sandbox. I'm going to get on top of the platform and hit play. So they both are moving. This one should shut off, and that one should slowly fade off into the distance. It's kind of hard to tell because I got this one moving back and forth so much. But now you can't hear the other one moving at all because it's moved far enough away. So that overlying sound, because all the sounds are happening in the same location where the player is, has now disappeared. And that'll fix that problem as well. So we've applied sound attenuation. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial. We've actually kind of covered a lot of ground in this one as far as applying sound. The next tutorial, we're going to make it so that these don't automatically play until the player enters into a volume, kind of like with the cannons. And then the following one after that, we will actually apply player interaction, so they have to press a button. In this case, mine's set up to press the E key for interaction. So when my player gets onto the platform, you can press E and it'll interact then. And some of these other issues we've already corrected so that we shouldn't see them. But if you have any problems or any issues, any questions, please hit me up and down in the comments. I will get back to you. Don't forget to like this tutorial for me and subscribe so you can follow along with the future tutorials. Thanks for playing. I will see you next time.